Good morning, good morning, good morning. Marketplace Monday, people. It is our first show of the new year, I believe. Today is the 6th. I think this is the first time we have gathered. Anyway, I am excited. I know at the end of the year, two of the shows that we did, we talked about our checklists that we kind of went through. So this year, kicking off, one of the things I want to go over is what I consider, and a lot of my data considers one of the biggest challenges for most people, whether it's on their job, whether it's having a business, whether it's in marriage, whether it's with their children, whether it's leading people, managing people, mastering communication, the key to unlocking career and business success. Mastering mastering communication. Communication is absolutely the number one issue in the marketplace. It's the number one issue with parents. It's the number one issue in marital relationships. Poor communication, lack of communication, not clear communication. Isn't it? It's funny. My wife walked down this morning. She asked me about something that was on my calendar. I didn't even think I didn't tell her, and I'm like, well, you're not, you're not part of that meeting. Why are you concerned? Well, honey, I'm trying to plan my day. I'm trying to make sure that I don't need to be. See what I'm saying? Just a lack of communication for me to my wife, and she's like, "Man, am I supposed to be there? Is it something I got to get ready for?" So communication, whether it's communication at work, whether it's handling tough conversations, right? Tough conversations, or whether it's about building relationships. Communication is the foundation of every success story. That's the bottom line. When I think about Voxeo and why I was talking to somebody the other day about when I was at Voxeo and we built Voxeo. Why was it, you know, such a successful company? Why were we able to have, we ended up, I mean, when I got into Voxel, I think it was an 18 or $20 million company. We grew it to over almost 60 million. And we sold it for $250 million between the two companies. How were we able to do that? It was a 100-person company here in Orlando. How did that happen? Well, I truly, as I look back, I think that the communication at the company was very clear. The communication at the company was very concise. Um, Everybody spoke the same language, right? Our company, although a lot of people thought it was about how great our technology was, we were the first ones to introduce redundant cloud. Nobody had ever done that before. We were the first ones to ever introduce a 100% uptime SLA in the technology business. Nobody had ever done that, but it wasn't any of those things. It was that everyone in the company, from the CEO down, was what we called customer obsessed. Everything about our company was about satisfying and serving our customers to the point that serving your customer was priority number one. Making sure, and it wasn't just talk, it wasn't just a slogan. It was really, 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 really what we believed. So, first thing I want to do is I want to give you a book. I want everybody to go out and buy this book. I don't promote a lot of books on my show, as you guys know, but I'm promoting a book. Go buy this book, order it today. The Four Essential Keys to Effective Communication. The Four Essential Keys to Effective Communication. Bento C. Leal the Third. Bento C. Leal the Third. I am getting a copy of this for every leader in my church, every assistant in my church will have a copy of this. So if you're a leader and assistant, you don't really have to order it if you're in the church. This is a key book. This book, I read it several times. I read in the beginning of the year. I read it in the middle of the year. I listen to it. I have it on Audible. It's a short book, but it really, really teaches you a lot about the communication skill called listening. the communication skill called clear communication. So why is communication so essential? Communication is the foundation of trust. Trust is the foundation of great relationships. It's that simple. Communication is the foundation of trust, and trust is the foundation of great relationships. Communication is also the foundation of clarity. Communication is also the foundation of productivity in any professional setting. So the opposite of that is poor communication can lead to misunderstanding. Poor communication can lead to conflict, and poor communication can lead to missed opportunities. So you need to understand that. Point number two for today: the cost. What does miscommunication actually cost you? 86% of employees report workplace failures as a result of poor communication. Poor communication. Think about that. Poor communication. So it it causes effects. It in business, unclear messaging can mean lost sales. In business, unclear messaging or unclear communication can mean damaged relationships. It can also mean a decline in morale. I'll give you a great example. At our church yesterday, we did a big graduation presentation on for our assistance class that we did more. And there was a miscommunication between Jeremiah and Miss Erin and Lakeisha, and we left out Miss Annie as one of the graduates, right? That's simply nothing more than miscommunication. Now, Annie could have just handled that real bad and got offended, just not come to the church. Man, I went through the class. They didn't even recognize me. The devil can let all kind of things start going through your mind in church. They don't care about me? Why'd this happen? Right? So miscommunication can really cause a lot of damage. So I'm just telling you why communication is so essential, right? Improve. How, so how do we get better at communication? What's the key to some of these things? Well, number one, improved active listening skills. What does that mean? This is the hardest thing for most people. That means you got to stop talking and you have to start listening. That means you got to stop talking and you got to start listening. Listening is half of communication, but yet we do 90% talking. Focus on understanding what the person is saying, not responding, right? Focus on understanding and not responding. I want you to work on this today at work. I want you to work on this tonight at church, today at church. I want you to work on this with your husband, with your wife. I want you to I want you to actively try to focus on listening to understand, not just responding. What are some keys here? Avoid interrupting. Write that down. Avoid interrupting. Watch this. Ask clarifying questions. For what? To ensure alignment, to ensure that you know what they're talking about, to ensure that you're on the same page. Ask clarifying questions of what they're talking about. Okay? So these are the steps to improve. Now, we're going to go into this much more over the next couple of shows. We're going to go through that book together. But these are some things that'll really help. Another thing, speak with clarity and confidence. Avoid jargon. Avoid overcomplication. Simplify your message. Get to the point. Stop with all the preambles. You spent 15 minutes to say one sentence. Practice in the mirror delivering key points. Um, to deliver what you're saying with maximum impact. How can you shorten? I've learned this through marketing. Through my the last 6, 7 years of my life, I've really been focusing. Obviously, I know what I'm doing in sales. So one of the areas I wanted to grow in was understanding marketing and what they do and trying to become better in it. Marketing is about taking a paragraph and making it 30 words, or taking a sentence that's 10 words and making it 3 words, but making it more impactful. Think about it. Nike, what comes to your mind? Just do it. Nike, just do it. Allstate, what? The good hands people. The good hands people, right? These little, so practice delivering key points with simplicity, shortening them, making them impactful, right? And then lastly, where we're going to close today, and I want you to write this down. This is a little bit of one of my wisdom keys that I like to share. The most impactful, the most powerful, the most effective tool in any career or business is your ability to communicate clearly and confidently. That's your greatest asset. That's what I'm looking for. Your greatest asset, your greatest asset in business or your career is your ability to communicate clearly and confidently. So this is very, very, very important. And the last one is, and I think the most important one, navigating difficult conversations. The real one way that there's a couple of ways in life that you're not going to grow, that you're not going to evolve, that you're not going to develop. One of those is you can't take correction. You can't take correction. You can't be corrected. You can't receive correction. Everybody else is wrong. It's always somebody else and it's never you. That's number one. The second most damaging thing is your avoidance of difficult conversation. Your avoidance of difficult conversations. We must approach difficult conversations um, um, with empathy, with sensitivity, right? You got to prepare when you're going to have a difficult conversation. You got to put preparation into it, and it's got to be a conversation with empathy, right? Empathy is a big part when you're having a difficult conversation. What is a difficult conversation, Pastor? One you don't want to have. One that's maybe has to have you question some of the things that are going on or question somebody you love, right? You have to use I statements to express your concerns without creating defensiveness. Jack, I noticed that you've been late a lot. I noticed that you coming to work, you showing up late has increased. As a matter of fact, it got to the point to where I started to track it. And what I want you to know, what I found was that in the last month, actually, I found that you were late at least 3 times every week. Now, I don't know how you feel about it. I understand we have a lot going on, but as for me, I just can't. I can't operate that way. I believe that being on time is an important part of work. I believe being on time is an important part of being a team member. Do me a favor, Jack. Tell me what you think about it. That's kind of how I feel about it. How do you feel about it? So, see, now I just had a very difficult conversation about somebody that's always late without insulting them, without challenging them, without making them feel less than, without attacking them, right? Without attacking them. How about that? And what I did was I flipped it around. I told them how I felt, and then I asked them to understand how they feel about it, right? So it's just a different way of doing it. So anyway, this is what we're going to get into in 2025 to start out. We're going to get our communication clear. We're going to get our communication effective. I want to tell you again, just in case you just joined, this is the book that I'll be teaching from, that I do teach from. I read this book 3 times a year. I read it in the beginning of the year. I read it in the middle of the year. I refresh myself at the end of the year, going into the new year. I listen to it on Audible all throughout the year. I try to listen to it once a month. It's a short book. The 4 Essential Keys to Effective Communication by Bento C. Leal. I'll be getting it for my leaders in the church and the assistants. So if you're one of those, don't worry about getting it. It's something, excuse me, something we're going to go over as a group. But if you're not, I implore you to get this book. It will really, really help you. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed everything. Listen, don't forget no, that's the wrong one. That's the wrong one too. Where's it at? Yeah. On Wednesdays, we're going to be talking. Wednesdays is going to be all about Pastor Franny's book, Let's Be the Women and Let the Men Be. I started to do that. I didn't mean to do that, but it was her opening. But anyway, that's what we'll be doing on this Wednesday. We'll be talking about Pastor Franny's book. She'll be breaking it down chapter by chapter. This is a great book if you're married, if you want to be married, if you're a man, if you're a woman. It's a great book. It'll be a great show for the next 4, 5, 6 months to go over to get Pastor Franny's insight of over 40 years of marriage and being a woman and being a mighty woman of God. Something that'll really help you guys. Join on Wednesday. Invite a friend. Invite a friend. I think there are a lot of women. I think there are a lot of men out there that really, really, truly need this. So invite some folks, get them out. Until Wednesday, Pastor Nick saying, enjoy life.